take selfies in a nuclear disaster site. We also give Lady Liberty a makeover and discover a whole new meaning to a code red weather alert. All of that and more on this week's episode of...
Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour. Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
Those are none of the sounds that the 4th of July sounds like in Virginia because nothing is legal in Virginia. So it's just the sound of sparklers and sadness. But we did do our 4th of July that I know everyone's going to call in and say, hey, you guys, your 4th of July thing came out like at the middle of July. And we're like, yeah, because we have lives and this isn't the only thing we goddamn do. So it runs a little late, but we did do 4th of July. As always, you are listening to another wasted hour. The following hour will be replaced with two ignorant, uninformed, ill-advised, self-deprecating morons ranting about opinions which they have no right to have, which are probably wrong and absolutely do not matter. Our goal here at Another Wasted Hour is to convince you that where we hail from, just outside Washington, D.C., is not just a city of politics and scandals, but one brimming with art, music, and culture, and laws that don't let you have fireworks, as impossible as that may seem. So listeners, now that you know why you're here, straight from chasing down Red Riding Hood, we have Dan Wolff.
Hey, thanks, fellas, for having me.
Yes, welcome. It's a little challenging because Wolf is with two Fs.
Two Fs.
So it's really Wolf.
Well, no, the first F is silent.
Is it
Yeah.
the second one you hear?
Well, that's why we added the second one, because people weren't pronouncing the first.
Because
Right.
it was just wool.
Yeah, so we added the second one so everyone knew how to say it.
That makes sense. Now that you put it that way, I feel like such an idiot. I think that's because I'm getting dumber. So welcome to the show. You are Dan Wolff, musician extraordinaire, but also a member of Dan Wolff and the Muddy Crows.
Yes, yeah.
Which I would hope, because that would be awkward if you weren't.
Yeah, if they ever kick me out of the band, they're going to have to really figure out how to rename themselves.
Right. That'll be just Dan Wolff and the Muddy Crows. Oh, which one's Dan Wolff? He's not with us anymore.
Yeah, artistic differences.
And so, you guys have a big show coming up on Saturday, July 28th at Denizens Brewery Company. What's a denizen? Is that a guy?
It's like a citizen.
Is it? Okay.
Hold on. I think so.
It's a guy named Dennis. A bunch of Dennises.
I know in all the books I read, it's usually like the people that live in caves, but now you got me curious.
Well, I think, wait, hold on.
So
if I can guess, I feel like a citizen is someone who's like a member of that, and a denizen is someone who is just there.
Who's dead and a citizen.
An inhabitant or occupant of a particular place.
Yeah, someone who's just there.
That's a lot less exciting than I thought it was going to be.
That sounds like uninspiring beer.
But what's the difference between that
wait a minute.
citizen?
No, the British definition, a foreigner allowed certain rights in the adopted country.
Oh.
Well, no, that makes sense with like the DC and
okay. All right, fair enough. So that's up in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be an outdoor gig, which will be
It is an outdoor gig. They've got a beer garden out there and a lot of tables and stuff lined up. So
and it'll be beautiful, July 28th.
Fingers crossed.
And you also came and brought us a track to play, which is very exciting.
I did.
Woo! We get to steal your intellectual property and claim it as our own. It's called Save My Soul. We're going to play a little of that later in the show. And if you cannot wait, which I completely understand, you can fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this show and listen to Save My Soul from Dan Wolff's self-titled album, also named Dan Wolff.
That's true.
Hence self-titled album. So if you want to find out more about Dan Wolff and his incredible music, go to danwolffmusic.com. Remember, that requires two Fs. One for you, one for me. And so without further ado, what did you do for the 4th of July, Dan?
Well, I actually didn't stay in D.C. this time, and I went back to Ohio, where my folks are from. Actually, and I spent some time in Columbus with my brother, and we actually attended the Doodah Festival.
The Doodah Festival.
That is something people should look up.
That sounds fascinating.
It sounds like a fair of nothing but like random garage sale kind of stuff, just all over tables.
And without the tables, I feel like that's exactly what it was. It is a parade of random things. It's like the 35th year, and I feel like it's, as I read about it, because this was the first I had heard of it, it seems like it was originally designated as like a political satire type thing. I wouldn't say that's really what it is now. There's a lot of different things that go on, and
now
whatever. There's no sign up. You just show up in the morning and you get in the procession.
And you get in line?
Yeah.
Wow. We have to
so my brother and I are trying to come figure out what we could do next year to make that.
We need another wasted hour float.
We absolutely do.
We should do this.
No cost to you. Yeah. It's like 35th year in Columbus, and it's it's an interesting sight to see.
How many podcasts get to be in a parade? Not many.
Next year, at least one.
Yeah, I think we have to make this happen.
I'll tell you one of the cooler things I saw there, though, was there's like Star Wars characters, like they all came dressed up. And there was like a Darth Vader, and he's got like an American flag on his shoulder, like he's an American troop. And
sure.
They had signs that said like defeat space ISIS based on the Space Force stuff that's coming
Space
up.
Force,
which I was like, I think it's pretty funny. But then I was like concerned. I'm like, are you suggesting we should lose to them? Is that
right.
the joke?
Yeah.
That's not really a possibility, I don't think. But
Star Wars really pisses me off because they've used the same plot line so many times that I just want to yell at the screen because for like 3 different movies, they've been like, let's build a giant base, and then we'll try to kill things with the base. Oh, it exploded. And then their next thought is, it wasn't big enough, right? Not the fact that there's a hole in it that you can shoot a torpedo into.
I feel like you just gave Trump an idea.
Yeah, it was that.
You just redesigned the Space Force Death Star situation,
No,
and he's going to make it bigger and the bestest.
Yeah, originally it was like a moon.
The hugest way.
The hugest Death Star.
First it was like we're making a moon, which they named a star, which first of all is the issue right off the bat, because
I think they should have known.
Obviously the requirements were skewed, right? They want a Death Star the size of a moon, and people were like, son of a bitch. Are you kidding me? So then they were like, we need a bigger Death Moon, right? Oh, what are we going to call it? Death Star 2, right? And then they were like, no, that didn't work either. They blew it before we even got it finished. Make a planet. Like next thing. Yeah, it's just not a good way of doing it. Basically, that's the best 4th of July display though ever, right? You blow up a moon.
Oh yeah, no, that's you're not going to trump it next year. So.
No, 4th of July is amazing.
4th of July is canceled now. We all saw the Death Star blow up.
Yeah,
so.
Can't top that.
Yeah,
all we had if it had just been synced to music, we would have we blown the top off. See, the 4th of July is super weird to me. Like, it's just the strangest of all of our holidays because we celebrate our independence, right, by shooting fireworks that we're not allowed to actually shoot because of laws of an oppressive government. Like, it blows my mind that, like, the people who are for the Second Amendment seem to be okay with the fact that we're not allowed to shoot off fireworks. Like, they're like,
Is anyone okay with the fact that we're not allowed to shoot off fireworks?
Nobody seems to be.
I've never met one person that's okay with that.
Yeah. I don't understand why there's still laws. It doesn't make any sense to me because nobody likes them and everybody disregards them for an entire day.
Well, that's true.
For my 4th of July, the girlfriend and I went up to Pennsylvania, and there's a reason why the very first thing you see when you cross over in Pennsylvania is giant billboards that advertise that you can buy your fireworks there.
Yeah.
Well, that happens between West Virginia and Ohio too. It's all the borders because like in a lot of cases you can buy the fireworks. You can buy the fireworks in a state, but you have to take them somewhere else to set them off.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So,
I think Pennsylvania is that way. So here's the thing I think is weird, and I'm going to be a little political for a minute because I think the thing that I hate the most is I hate political irony or people who are like, two-faced about things when it comes to politics. And I think this is one of those, right? Because I have a feeling that the people who buy some of the most and largest fireworks and set them off illegally are also the people that are really mad at people coming into the United States illegally and feel that they should be deported because they're breaking the law. Right. And so I feel like if you're going to like jump onto that pedestal and be like, if you're breaking the law, you don't belong in this country, you should probably have to then follow the law. Am I way off on that, do you think?
You're thinking too highly of your fellow man there, Keith.
Yeah. That's the argument I always hear. So
well, I think in our society, you mentioned the politics, I think people are inconsistent on both sides about everything, and it makes it really tough to figure out how you're supposed to think about things.
Yeah, I think I just would like consistency. I think
I don't mind disagreeing with you necessarily. It's just I want to understand like how you even got there.
Yeah.
And most times I can't figure out.
And some arguments, they have a sense of validity to them. I understand if you cross over the border illegally, there's probably some penalty to that, right? That makes sense. I get that, right? When you then put it with hypocrisy of like, but I'm not going to follow some of the laws because they're really inconvenient, then I think that maybe you have to like re-examine where you're coming from on some of those things. But that's just me. Here's what I do know is that we bought some land out in West Virginia.
Oh man,
this summer, and we're gonna close on that on the 16th. And I found out in March or in 2016, all fireworks became legal in West Virginia. So I know what I'm doing next year.
Yeah,
is celebrating
next 4th of July. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, celebrating my independence in a different state. So, speaking of independence, how would you like to own your own independent distributed publication?
That is a great segue, and I would love to own my own independent.
That's what we're going to do then. We're going to put you in charge of a completely made up, independent, non-mainstream publication. You are going to be the editor-in-chief. You're going to let us know, as your loyal reporters and journalists, which we went out there on the beat. We found news. We're going to pitch it to you. You're going to let us know if it makes it into the publication.
All right.
And this really affects our bonuses. So it's a big deal for us.
Which one of you wins?
Yes, exactly. So would you like to start us off, Adam?
Sure. Pair high on bath salts fires gun at fireflies, mistaking them for alien lasers.
It's 4th of July! Bang, 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 bang!
Oddly enough, not Florida.
Not Florida.
No, this happened in Pennsylvania.
Man.
Where a couple from Clinton County had a bad trip on bath salts and thought the cloud of fireflies off in the distance were alien lasers that were after them. So they fired a gun to scare off the lasers, ran to a neighbor's house to tell him, basically knocked on the door, said, "Help, someone call the police, to someone pursuing us," but then started breaking that person's windows. Yeah.
The next
and then,
step,
while they were waiting for the police, ran to another neighbor's house and started breaking their windows, I guess, to ask for help.
Help! I'm going to destroy your property. Save me from me.
That's interesting you say that they have a bad trip on bath salts. Yeah, like that implies that there have been like a series of good trips on bath salts, and this one somehow went sideways.
I have not heard of any good experiences on bath salts.
No, but I guess that wouldn't be newsworthy. But like the one guy in Florida, right, ate the guy's face.
I've literally only ever heard of two. This guy who ate the person's face on the highway, and now people shooting guns at fireflies thinking they're aliens.
Yeah. I want to say there was someone naked, like punching like an alligator or something. Yeah, it's always bad. It's always just terrible.
Yeah, I think the news would be if there was a good trip. And everything was fine, and we came down normally and went to work.
Do you think that there's a certain bit of foundation that had to be laid first? Because not only did they have to get high, but something in the back of their head had to think, there is a chance there could be aliens with lasers, for the rest of their brain to be like, and that's them, right? That had to exist.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
That existed before, right? They didn't just adopt a brand new view of the entire universe in that moment, right?
They were susceptible to those thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. The connection was made then,
We'll probably have to confirm your theory, Keith. We'll have to do like the Another Wasted Hour episode on bath salts so we can figure out.
Every episode is on bath salts. That's how we do this. That's the only way we get here, Adam. Otherwise, we wouldn't do. We would just go and have dinner and just talk like normal people. All right, it is par for the course for bath salts, but is it news?
I think because it does seem like a heartwarming summer story right around the 4th of July. I mean, you said there was a pair, right? They're like a couple, or
sure,
we assume. So
they were on a date.
So it sounds like a romantic summer evening.
Yeah, bath salt laser date.
Clinton County, Pennsylvania, wherever you said. So I'm going to say, since this is the 4th of July episode, that definitely is news.
Okay, there you go. He takes one. He's very good at this. He spends a lot more time selecting stories than I do. I just take the top 4 I can find, and then I'm like, I'm going to work really hard to make these funny.
I don't think you're giving Caitlin enough credit there, Keith.
That's true. She picks some, and then I try to make them funny. What could be more American than a U.S. stamp featuring Lady Liberty, right?
Okay.
How about getting sued for copyright infringement for a U.S. stamp featuring Lady Liberty? More American, right?
That's pretty American.
Yeah. It shouldn't be possible since the U.S. government literally owns the Statue of Liberty, but hold my Boston Tea Party. The U.S. Postal Service claims that instead of using the statue in New York Harbor, they accidentally used the face of a smaller Statue of Liberty outside a casino in Las Vegas. Yeah.
Once again, even more American.
Right. It's just getting better. Yeah, so the judge ordered the Postal Service to pay a portion of the sales to the artist who created the replica because there was a significant difference between the two. It's been more modernized due to the organization not attributing the work to the artist, not apologizing for taking the work, and for not allowing something that happened in Vegas to stay in Vegas. That last part I might have made up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he
like that though.
$3.5 million in restitutions for that artist.
How many stamps did they make?
They made a lot of stamps. I can look it up, but it would be really boring. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm committed.
I'm curious. You said they modernized it. What does that mean?
So
what is she wearing?
The artist? No, it's just she has a more.
She's got leggings and Ugg boots.
She's considered, in his words, to be what was it? It was he said it really great. Sexier. But it was there were 3 words that he had, if I can find
That's
it.
what I want in my Lady Liberty.
Yeah, it was like more sultry. Oh, so a little more modern, a little more contemporary face, definitely more feminine, more appropriate for Las Vegas. And I believe he said more. Here it is: fresh-faced, sultry, and even sexier. That's what Mr. Davidson, the artist, said. And the judge agreed with him, and it was because they sold apparently 4.9 billion stamps.
Oh, man.
That he deserved a portion of the sales because he had the image on the stamp.
I wonder if I have those.
Yeah, well, they're worth a lot now.
Or less. I
But
don't
not
know.
to you.
They're like the damaged stamps.
Yes, exactly. So a great raking in for an artist. I mean, that's a great way to earn some money.
Much better than Spotify.
Yeah, it's hard to sell a statue on Spotify. But is it news?
Is it news?
Mm-hmm. That was the question.
See, I kind of wish I knew these stories in advance so that I could properly not make them one at a time. I think
that's the fun of it.
Yeah,
though.
I know.
We're putting you on the spot.
What are the odds that the Vegas thing would come second?
Yeah. The odds. I see what you did there.
So
Nicely done.
That was intentional. The thing is, though, nothing surprises me about Vegas anymore.
Yeah. I mean they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. That was pretty amazing.
I mean, yeah.
That surprised me.
Still going on about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think in DC, I kind of missed out. I'm not a hockey fan. Like
people were like, they won the cup, and you're like, who?
Yeah. Oh, we have a hockey team. Cool.
We went down.
I was aware of it, but yeah, coming from the Midwest, it's kind of like the big 3: baseball, basketball, and football. Not so much into hockey or soccer. I know you guys have ragged a bit on soccer in the past.
That's true. We actually went to the watch party for that last game, and then when we went out into the streets after we had won, we went up to drunk people and we said, "Who won?" And they really confused them. They're like, "We did. We won. When?" And I'm like,
that's pretty funny.
All right, so is it news?
I'm gonna say no.
Gonna
say no.
Oh, I'm already behind.
But your lead up, your story about it was so good.
Yeah, I really tried hard.
Yeah,
I spent like a good 3 or 4 minutes writing that.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
All right, Adam, what you got?
All right, so we've had all sorts of bad news lately, but I have some good news for you to make up for all of it.
All right.
The blood rain in Siberia was probably just a bunch of industrial garbage.
Excuse me? Wait.
That's right. I'll repeat that. The blood rain in Siberia was probably caused by a bunch of industrial garbage.
First of all, that has a lot of bad words in it. And one of those words is replaced with another word. And then the word probably in between it.
Probably.
Which is troubling because if you say blood rain and you don't say was caused by not blood rain, that makes me think you're not sure if it was actually blood rain or not.
The test was inconclusive?
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's a way to test.
Right.
Is it blood? Yes or no?
How many people
blood
are
rain
missing?
is blood rain probably just garbage. Don't worry about it.
And then you go, no, don't worry. It's not blood. It's just industrial waste falling on everyone. Wait, that's not better.
Wait, where did you say this was?
Siberia, the bastard love child of the North Pole and Mordor.
Right, okay.
It's where you send everyone you hate.
I didn't even know. I thought the whole thing about that was like there's not a lot going on there.
There isn't.
So where's industrial? Where's that coming from?
I'm assuming
the Eastern Bloc?
Planes. They just are dumping it. Like they're like, fuck Siberia.
It's Siberia. It's a place where gold literally drops from the sky, and as you covered earlier, Keith, severed human hands just come out of the snow like turnips.
Yeah.
When did he cover that earlier?
Oh, yeah. So in another episode, they discovered in Siberia, in snowdrift, hands. They were just hands. And we were like,
and we just shouldn't worry about that.
No.
Oh.
And
no one has ever thought, hey, there's a bag full of hands in Russia and feet washing up in Oregon.
Yeah.
Are they related?
How long ago did they find the hands? Like, is the terminal velocity of hands like a lot less? Or like, so it got there faster.
The blood stayed up there.
Yeah, I think the blood had like a lower terminal velocity and therefore just arrived now.
I feel like if it had stayed up there long enough, it would have turned into blood hail, and that is a horrifying thought.
That is something that I think makes it farther up in the paper.
Yeah. that sounds like a sequel to the movie Blood Glacier.
Also, be blood hail definitely not related to toxic waste fallout. Definitely.
Yeah. So probably toxic waste. Don't worry, it's not human blood. Oh, okay. That's like an 8 out of 10 rather than a 10 out of 10.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But you do feel better now, right? Because that's probably
right.
It's probably not actually blood rain.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I wish we had a metric though, like how probably, like you're 51% sure. Like,
yeah. Let's put it this way: it's probably not an outdoor day in Siberia.
I don't think Siberia has
there's no such thing as an outside day.
Yeah. Sorry, stealing your joke.
The air quality is let's call it red. It's a red day.
Well, it's DC's been sending those warnings, the air quality things all the time. I'm getting them like every other day now, but it never says that.
Yeah, red alert. They have
so it makes me happy I'm not living in Siberia.
Red alert there means there's blood in the air. That's why it's red. So is it news?
All right. Well, see, I started off with drugs. I feel like I'm trying to hit sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So this blood rain, I feel like I'm going to regret this. I'm going to say no.
Oh.
And I'm holding out for the
industrial.
Oh no! You know what though?
Yeah.
I don't know about newspapers. Do they still have like a weather section?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't. Yours can.
Probably.
I mean, it's your newspaper. You can put whatever sections you want.
All right. I feel like I need
if you're going for sex, drugs, and rock and roll, blood rain's pretty fucking metal.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good spin on it. Also, I feel like I do need multiple sections of the paper. So we will do in the weather report section of this.
Of the weather report.
Of the weather report.
Okay.
That is exactly the kind of story that my publication would
and technically,
need to carry.
It's not rock. It's not rock and roll, but industrial waste is probably a type of genre of music. So
if it's not, a whole bunch of people on the internet just invented it.
Yes.
All right, so yeah, I'm good
and
with
also
that.
technically,
that
Keith, I now lead 2-0.
You sold me on it.
That is true. All right. I shouldn't
How do you have assistant editors?
I shouldn't have helped sell that. What am I doing? I'm so bad at my job. In our latest episode of Warning Labels That Shouldn't Need to Be Made, from the species that brought to you such beloved warnings as don't roast marshmallows in lava, don't eat detergent, and don't try and take selfies with vicious wild animals, Japan has had to put up warning signs for motorists not to stop and take selfies in the Fukushima nuclear disaster zone. You know what? Strike that. Just fucking do it. Do it. I don't even care. Just promise me to put me in your moron will, because I can't believe people are like, there are signs that say go through this as quickly as possible. There's nuclear fallout. Like, it's just everything is radioactive, and they're like, we should stop and take a picture. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
What happened to the good old days where nobody ever went near Chernobyl? Like that. We were so smart back then. We just were like, get the fuck out of there and never go back.
Yeah,
and only a couple years ago, we sent the Top Gear guys through there. So
right.
we kind of come down as a species.
Well, this actually makes me a little bit glad that it's not just America.
I'm sure it was tourists.
Because I feel like we invent like the Tide Pod challenge.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no challenge.
Yeah. No, I guarantee you it's American tourists that are doing the touch Fukushima challenge.
Well, we've seen all these superhero movies. Maybe it's inducing that, and they're like, oh, maybe I'll
get powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the powers to forget where you were the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Also, like the superpower is like having 6 fingers and
Yeah, congratulations. You have a new superpower. You don't need a nightlight.
Yeah.
That's like, you're not going to fly. I'm just going to say, like, hey, are you tired of the thoughts of having to grow old and actually retire? Great. You've solved that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that it's. I'd like to think it wasn't Americans and that other people did it, but you're probably right.
Yeah, congratulations.
It's probably the people that survived the Tide Pod Challenge are like, what's next?
Yes, you have now gained the power to regenerate parts of your body, assuming those parts are cancer. That's all you can do now. Oh, my arm fell off. Well, now you get cancer. Maybe it'll turn into an arm. Good luck.
Yeah.
It's a tumor. It has teeth. So, anyhow, so is it news?
I think it is because apparently people need these warnings.
They do.
It's just where in the paper do we put these warnings?
Probably just the entire front page.
Maybe you know what? Can it be like a Dear Abby? Dear Abby, I was thinking about going to Fukushima.
Right.
And my wife wants to like take a picture with the kids in front of the and touch the things.
Dear Abby, how do you feel about Fukushima tag?
Yeah.
Don't.
The Fukushima challenge.
Yeah. Tag, you're at Fukushima.
Yeah.
No, you are.
So I'm going to put that in the, what's that section of the paper called? Like the Dear Abby section.
The advice columns.
Advice?
Perhaps?
Yeah, okay. Advice columns.
Yeah.
Don't Fukushima yourself up.
Yeah. And probably don't roast marshmallows there either.
Yeah.
It takes longer and you should really not be there that long. All right, what do you have next?
All right, so now we are officially getting into the rapid fire part of the show.
We're running a little low on time, so
just gonna throw some headlines at you. If you have questions, let us know.
Yeah,
but we're gonna do this quick.
You can ask questions. We're just not gonna pitch it to you.
Okay.
And because it's me, there had to be at least one of these. Florida.
Nope.
Police find alligator in suspect's getaway car.
Oh, we have a Florida man.
Police find alligator in a suspect's getaway car.
Yeah.
I guess I just need to ask the question.
Yeah.
Is his crime stealing an alligator? Or is that secondary?
Yeah.
That was secondary. They tried to steal a car. When that failed, they drove away, and when the police pulled them over, there was just an alligator in the getaway car.
Nice.
So I guess they wanted to play the getaway game on fucking hard mode.
I'm not sure.
That's amazing that they went to steal a car, and A, they were so inept they couldn't steal a car, and B, they were so inept they didn't see a gator crawl into their car. That's how.
I just feel like if Ricky Bobby was motivated to drive faster by having a fucking cougar in his car, they just kicked it up a notch, put a fucking alligator in there.
That's three strikes. You didn't steal the car. You didn't notice a gator get into your car, and then you got caught by police. You're a horrible criminal.
Yeah, but I feel like with the Florida thing, you said Florida, and I was like, nope, because nothing really surprises me anymore. I feel like news, right? I feel like people reading my publication are also going to think that Florida is not news. It's like if there was like a Russian traffic incident, or I don't know, like a Japan TV show has something to do with a lot of people cramming themselves into a telephone booth. It's those kind of things that you.
That's what we call Saturdays.
You come to expect on like those internet videos. So I think I'm gonna pass on the Florida.
All right. Oh, I think we're tied up now. Is that? No, I have to get one more.
I'm still leading 2-1.
I have to get one more. All right. Poisonous books found in library of University of Southern Denmark.
Poisonous books.
Yeah. Rare books dating from the 16th and 17th century have been found by scientists to be covered in deadly poison.
Okay. Well, poison is kind of like a drug.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't suggest reading this book and then eating your personal pan pizza that you get from reading the book.
Yeah, this sounds like a bad trip on books.
Yeah. So, yeah, apparently back then, they would actually make the covers of books out of older texts. So they were examining this because it pressed them together. They were trying to see what those Latin texts were that they mushed together to make the covers. But apparently they also there was a heavy layer of green paint obscuring the letters. And when they examined that, they found out the green paint wasn't really green paint as much as just arsenic. It was just fuck off arsenic, right?
All right.
I assume that in the 15th, 16th century, they were like, well, we don't want rats to eat this book. What could we put on it? And that's poison, what they came up with. But they also didn't take into account that you might lick your finger when turning a page.
Yeah.
So
also just gave you an idea of how to keep my girlfriend from reading my diary.
That's true. Yeah, there's a few ways you could do that. You could also just put a big naked picture of yourself on the front of it.
That's what I've done so far. It seems to work.
Yes. Ah! I was trying to read your diary, but it's too busy vomiting.
Hope you didn't get any in the book.
Yes.
I gotta write on that later. You know how hard it is to write on a wet page?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I need some more questions, but we'll let that one slide.
So is the news.
I think that it sort of, I'm going to put a twist on it.
Sort of.
It's going in the classifieds.
Yeah.
There's a used book sale. And
Right.
you can get them real cheap.
Oh, sure. No,
It's
absolutely.
like an as-is kind of book sale.
Seems like it would be an auction for an estate, though.
No returns.
Because that person's dead. So, all right. Excellent. So we're all tied up. Go.
Animal rescuers note surge in drunken seagull calls.
That's a thing. I read that one.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
The way that it's phrased is a little bit weird. People aren't drunk and calling seagulls, but the seagulls have somehow consumed alcohol and they are drunk.
And calling the police.
and doing what?
No.
And we still have not answered the question of what do you do with a drunken seagull?
Yes. Obviously throw it.
So I guess people are complaining that these seagulls are drunk and doing stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
I read one story that they're throwing up on police officers. I don't know if that's true. But
I mean, I feel like whichever end it's coming out of, birds are continually this problem. Drunken birds are probably worse.
This story brought to you by Denizens Brewing Company.
I did commit to the sex, drugs, and rock and roll motif, and I think I missed a few on that. Let's see. I'm trying to think of an appropriate section for this. There's always like that law enforcement section, right? Like in the local paper that talks about like these people got tickets or there's a cops call.
Yeah, right. The crime blotter, whatever.
Yeah. So I will put that in the
shame
blotter
section.
The shame,
basically.
the public shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
When everybody in the community knows you have a speeding ticket now or something dumb. So.
All right, so I can only tie it up now, but I really feel strongly about this one.
Well, you've heard my criteria, so.
A man harasses a woman for wearing a Puerto Rico t-shirt saying that it is un-American. Yes, in a public park in Illinois, a man harassed a woman for wearing a Puerto Rico flag shirt saying, like, you wouldn't wear that if you're a real American.
Yeah.
She tried her best to explain to the drunken and albeit kind of aggressive man that Puerto Rico was part of America, but he wasn't having it. Because I
might legit see if I can get.
It's not a state. Yeah. I mean.
I was gonna say, I might legit see if I can get Victor on post doing like a face palm on air. I'm gonna call him after this episode.
Yeah.
See, the trick is though, if I do accept this, it needs to be clear this is not part of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll clause.
Right.
This harassment is not coming in on.
He was probably on drugs.
but the drugs thing is the reason that I think. Yeah. I mean, alcohol again. I feel like there's a lot of alcohol today.
He's probably on bath salts people. At that point.
This is a bad trip.
Yes.
So under that clause, it makes it in under the drugs clause.
Yeah.
This is totally rock and roll.
All right. So we ended up all tied up. We both get to keep our jobs. This is fantastic. What we need next is a name for your brand new publication. What are you calling it?
Can it be Dan Wolff's publication for people who can't read good and can't do other stuff either? Actually, no, can't do other stuff too. That's the best way. Yeah. Dan Wolff's publication for people who can't read good and can't do other stuff too.
So the front page is going to be
only as long as you use the wrong version of 2.
Yes.
Fair enough.
The front page is just going to be the title of the entire publication. All right. The Dan Wolff publication for people who can't read good and other stuff too.
Yeah.
All right.
And can't do other stuff too.
Excellent. That is the end of that. How do you feel you did?
I mean, it's my first day on the job, so
yeah.
I think there's room for improvement, but I'm happy with the effort.
Yeah, you've got a theme going. I think that's a really good step in the right direction.
Thank you. Yeah.
You've got a branding that you can go for. You've got an incredibly long title.
Yeah, you can find us at Dan Wolff's publication for people who can't read good and can't do other stuff too. .net.
.com was taken.
Yeah, it's taken.
All right, so excellent. So that was your first soiree into being a media mogul. what you've done in the past, taking steps towards being a media mogul. Obviously, this was your last step. Your first step was writing and producing music and putting out albums. You have one that came out just recently, right?
Yep.
The self-titled Dan Wolff album.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
That actually came out in late January.
Late January. Okay.
And I had some physical copies and kind of online later. And that was sort of a labor of love. As I mentioned before, I do play in the band The Muddy Crows. So we released an album a few years ago while I was kind of finishing this one up. So it kind of got put on the back burner to promote the band stuff.
Yeah.
And in that time, I added a few other songs. And instead of it being like a Dan Wolff self-titled EP, Dan Wolff-ep, I guess, I made it more of a full length and added a few songs over the last few years. And so that one kind of spans some of the different writing. I think in the beginning I was like kind of happy and poppy, and then I've gotten more moody and kind of darker writings, I think, recently. So
okay.
So I think the album kind of spans a lot of genres as they kind of found their place.
A lot of genres or just a lot of moods, do you feel like?
Well, definitely a lot of moods. But
Yeah.
there's a few tracks, or I guess there's one track in particular that's like a pretty reggae track.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Then, I mean, the one we'll play later, Save My Soul, is, I don't know, adult contemporary is such a unflattering.
Sure.
So I don't know how it would necessarily rock, let's just say.
Yeah, like
rock.
a smooth jazz. No, I
Death
understand.
folk, death grass. No, yeah, so, and then there's another one on there that I would say, and it's got a pedal steel, so it automatically leans country.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's actually country, but they have definitely a lot of different musical elements, because I think they were done more as singles than they were as initially kind of a cohesive project. So you get a lot of variance in both mood and style.
Well, and the track that you brought us is Save My Soul. Is this something that's kind of enigmatic of what you do? Like, is this kind of the genre that you usually stay in, and the other things were departures, or is this kind of the departure?
I think that this one's probably a little more in the vein of at least what I'm writing now, for sure.
Okay.
And
was this one of the later ones that you did?
This is one of the later ones, and I think I wrote it maybe 2 years ago. I think it kind of speaks to kind of, I don't want to say desperation, but when you're at a point where you think you've kind of like sunk pretty low, and you're kind of thinking like, what is redeemable about what I'm doing, or like my choices, or who's going to save my soul? And sort of looking for that redemption out of the choices and the things that you've made.
Not a Jewel cover. This is not.
No.
Okay. Disappointment.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I think we can all really relate to that. Let's take a listen to it. Again, if you want to listen to the entire track, fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this show, and you can hear Save My Soul, which is from the self-titled album, Dan Wolff. So without further ado, this is a sample from that song.
Leaving now, there are scars I can't talk about. Too afraid, ashamed to say them out loud to those that are near me. Life chagrined over sins, Lord, I need to confess. In my stomach they pit and they pound in my chest. I want somebody to hear me. Who's gonna save my soul now? Who's gonna save my soul? Can there be forgiveness after all of this? After everything I've done.
I don't know that we should be terribly offended by calling it adult contemporary. I think that has a real, like, it's a modern but really mature sound to it.
Well, thank you.
And so combining that, I understand that that's like one of those like genres people are like, oh, but here's the good news: nobody's going to compete with you for it. Right? So
I don't know how you say that. This is a good thing.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you're in a weird genre.
Really stand out
I
in
think
your
we
market.
usually say Americana because it's like a real catch-all, but some people expect Americana to be like folk or like Johnny Cash train song, and some people think it's more like Tom Petty rock, and so I don't know if I can claim Americana. This has a little bit more
pop than Americana to it, I would say.
I think
it has a little bit of, like, there's definitely some leanings of rock in there, and there was a couple of things that sounded a little more Americana, but adult contemporary probably really like wraps that up nicely. Different influences, but something that's like digestible and something that you can like relate to and listen to and tap your foot to, and it's not like challenging necessarily. It's something that like you can instantly get into.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great...
Well, I hope that's true. I hope your listeners think so too.
Well, I hope so as well. Again, if you want to listen to the whole track, go to the 1 hour mark of this show. In the meantime, if you're hanging out with us here, we're going to fast forward now to Please God, Just Get One Right. Our game show that we invented that's not very good. We don't
Unlike
even...
my stinger, which is excellent.
Yes, no, not at all. We didn't even pick the category. That's how bad we are at making game shows. Our category this week was actually chosen by Guido from Boate, the band that was with us last week. I think his category was the kazoo. He did not do well. And so he then decided to take that out on you. So I apologize ahead of time. What I will let you know is that if you feel maybe slighted by this, you could go on Thursday, July 12th to the Black Cat in Washington, D.C. and talk to Guido himself. His band Boy will be playing there. So let him know maybe that you're not particularly happy with his choice. You can then also pick a category at the end of this to pass your pain on to our next guest.
All right.
So that you don't feel like you're alone in the world.
All right.
All right. So are you ready for your category?
I'm not really, but
no.
I don't want to drag this out. So yeah, let's do it.
The category this week is HQ, which happens to be a trivia app available on mobile phones.
I used to have that app.
Oh, then you might have a shot at this. Because if you didn't have the app, you're screwed. Because these are all based off of that app. So without further ado, some of these are going to be harder than others. But if you had the app, I think you've got at least a shot at some of these. We aren't going to go easy on you. But if you do win one, you do get to select a prize out of our sack of fun. So
your sack of fun.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's back here.
It's just as disappointing as it sounds.
Uncle Archie's sack of fun. His fun sack. So here we go. First question.
Oh boy.
What musician guest hosted the $25,000 trivia game on June 17th after closing out a Dead & Company 2-night stand at Citi Field in New York City? So he played at the Dead & Company 2-night stand in Citi Field in New York City, then was the guest host of the $25,000 trivia game on June 17th.
I think I know this one both by the Dead & Company, and actually I think people said this. I only played like the game 4 times, but I'm pretty sure.
Wow, this is going to be a tough one.
Final answer.
Yeah.
I think this is John Mayer.
Yes!
Holy shit!
Yeah, right off the bat. Wow.
So this is going to be a short show.
That one. Yeah.
Oh, no?
You win already. All right.
Yeah.
This is all gravy now. You just get to slide into
home. Do I
home.
get to stick my hand in the sack like as many times as I get it right? Or?
And you don't want to do that. The first time it's just pure regret, and then after that it just gets worse. So, all right, Adam, now that the game's over.
I'm sorry.
Why don't we see how many we can get? Now you've already got the one.
Right. Shout out, by the way, to Jessica Vasquez. If she listens to this, she told me, because she's a John Mayer fan, and she told me that she saw him on there. So.
Jessica, you have allowed him to stick his hand in a fun bag. So,
all right. Okay. I feel like now I'm not so glad that she told me.
I'd like to take this back.
HQ has introduced a one-winner-takes-all format where questions keep being asked until there's only one player remaining. What is the highest number of questions asked during this format?
What's the record for most questions asked? I'll give you a hint. It's more than one.
Yeah, that's true. What is it? Is it usually 10 questions, I think, right?
I think you're right. I think that's
it's usually 15, I think.
Is it 15? Oh, okay.
I think. I think it also might vary.
I also don't know.
Or maybe I go out at like 10. I don't know. That's why I stopped playing the game.
I've never made it past 3. So.
Woo!
Okay, so
I won $4. That's what I've heard people.
So yeah,
yell.
I'm not sure if it's. I'm gonna say 19.
The answer was 27.
Yeah,
I wasn't even close.
Yeah, higher than you think. All right, during the Super Bowl halftime show, HQ offered its largest prize ever, $20,000. When the game started, how many trivia lovers were logged in to win the prize? To the nearest 100,000.
When the game started.
Yep. So the initial count.
I don't even know if I know how many people usually play.
More
Super
than
Bowl,
one. There's the hint.
I think in previous shows you said if you gave a hint, people didn't get it, but I don't feel like this counts as a hint.
What, more than one?
Yeah, like I don't. That doesn't count against me, right?
No.
I'm gonna say because like I think I've seen like this is like in the beginning it was like 1.1 million people, so I'm gonna say maybe it sits at 2 million regularly. So on a big one, I'm gonna say 3.5, 4 million, 4 million.
4 million. High, actually. It was 1.9 million. Yep.
Man, it's giving the Super Bowl too much credit.
Yeah,
People
you
were
were.
watching the halftime show. What was I thinking?
Right. So, you were almost close. You had the 2 minute. At one moment, you said 2 million. I was like, I might have to give it to him at that point. But nope, 4
it's
million.
A good thing I got the first one right.
Not even close.
Right. The largest total cash prize up that has been up for grabs so far was $400,000. What special event was that game of HQ in recognition of?
It was after the Super Bowl, just for the record.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So 20,000 was the highest one as of the Super Bowl.
I was confused by that.
Since then, they've gone up
of
to 400,000.
I'm going to say maybe it's been going on for a year. Is it their year anniversary?
No, it was the NBA Finals Game 4.
The best of all the games.
Yeah.
Game 4.
Don't know why Game 4 was special, but
okay.
400,000 for. They just went for a theme of numbers.
I feel confidence in these answers, and I'm just
yeah. You're glad you got that one out of the way so that you can just you don't have to care, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have to make up stupid corporate ads in between all the pauses.
All right. Last one that I have for you. The HQ Trivia app has a special name for any question, which eliminates over half of the remaining players. What is its nickname?
Oh.
This was the one I thought you might get. This was what I considered the easy one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm aware that that's a thing.
Yeah. It exists.
So many people are going to be so disappointed in me.
I didn't make it up. I appreciate you believing me. New trivia question. HQ can also drive your car how fast? No, that's not a... Nobody ever gets any right because they're just not real trivia questions. Trick question. We have no prizes in the sack, so we can't have you win. There you go. So
this is where you're supposed to do a corporate ad, I think you said.
Yeah.
On the fly, go. You can promote my newspaper if you like.
What's the corporate ad? He's thinking. He doesn't have one.
Come on. All right.
You want a hint?
Yeah.
A man who shares your name shares this word in his name.
A man who shares his name.
Shares your name.
Say that one more
Feeling
time.
empty inside.
So a guy
Feeling
that has
depressed.
your name
Yep.
also has this word in his name. He's
He
famous.
does not know what to do
It's
with
not
it.
just a random
sorry,
guy.
I thought you meant a random guy.
Yeah, just if you open the phone book, there's somebody who fucking has this word. No, that's a terrible hint.
Well, I was like, this is weird.
Right.
This is a weird thing.
Smith?
I don't know.
It's a.
I don't. I'm gonna be mad when you tell me, but yeah, I don't know. Tell me.
Have you ever heard of the newspaper columnist Dan Savage?
I have. and
Yes,
that is- yeah.
savage question.
It is called a savage question.
Yep, that is.
That's right. Like you said, I didn't want to touch the sack more than I had to. So maybe I threw that one on purpose.
All right. App creators Russ Yusupov and Colin Kroll have been seeking investors for their trivia app. However, their efforts have been somewhat stymied by a troubled relationship with which previous employer?
Who did they previously work for? It wasn't Dan Savage.
How about
When nothing's going right in your life, Taco Bell is here for you at all times of the day.
And then back out of you.
at about the same time? At 10 minutes later.
Taco
than it is now.
Bell's new continuous flow technology.
Hey, Taco Bell. Our drive-thrus are open 24 hours, even though our restaurants aren't.
It is odd. Also,
Our drive-through bowel service.
man. One more time, maybe it'll jog something. Well,
No,
I
it's not
forgot the
going to-
question. Now we're talking about Taco Bell. Oh, who are they previously worked for, right?
Yes.
I don't
you
know.
don't know.
ABC. Isn't that who did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I don't know.
No, the answer we're looking for is Twitter.
Oh.
I was going to go with Trivial Pursuit. I would have thought that would have been a really good answer.
Like Mattel.
I don't know if Trivial Pursuit is an employer.
I'm sure they employ somebody. They have to write those questions. They have to update them from time to time. They do like the 90s version, and then they have a version apparently where the adults have some questions and kids have other questions.
Oh.
Did you hear this?
No.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but apparently
like, why are we playing this game? Mom and Dad, you're stupid for making me do this. Those kind of questions.
Right. No. Like I assume like the adult questions are like, what's the name of like the first shuttle that went into space? And like the kids' questions are like, where's the best place to hide your pot from your parents?
The first question was a lot more wholesome than I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
I assumed the adult one was going to be the more risque one.
I actually do still have I have a copy of Trivial Pursuit that was published before the fall of the Soviet Union.
Oh,
so it's really interesting trying to play all those like history and geography questions. Like, well, I know what the answer is now. What was the answer before the wall came down?
Right. They're no longer the Baltic states, but all right, so you did win.
That's
got
good.
one.
Wow.
You only got one.
Well, okay.
But
that's all he needed.
But you started strong and really had us raring to go because we thought you had it.
I thought I was going to be an all-star.
And then it just really dwindled. It was kind of like
savage questions.
Bryce
those were.
Bryce Harper's batting average. So you need to pick a brand new category to pass on this pain on to our next guest while I go get the sack of shame. Sack of fun. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. I misspoke. It's not the sack of shame. It's the same sack. All right. Let's go get it.
All right.
Don't tell him it's the same sack.
So, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something like, how about, can you just.
Sack of fun. Here we go. Oh, it's still wet.
Best GIF ever.
All right. Nothing is wrapped. Just because it's hard to wrap moving things.
What did the last person win? I heard somebody won a beard of bees.
Yeah.
I think that was the last prize we gave out, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you have to close your eyes and reach in to get your prize. But you can select anything from the bag of snakes. I mean, fun. Bag of fun. Bag of definitely not live things that sting. All right, ready?
All right.
All right, here we go.
Sure. Here we go. I don't even have my hands in the bag. Ow!
All right. What'd you get?
I have ear guards. They protect your ears from ear spiders, earwigs, and other creepy ear dwellers.
Yeah. You don't want those.
So you got earplugs.
For those that can't see,
they go over top. It's like shower caps for your ears.
Yeah, I was gonna say they look like shower caps or I don't know, some kind of prophylactic.
Exactly.
For your ear.
For ear banging. All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, no, this will come in real handy.
Yeah, you're really excited. I can tell.
Well, I think I'm going to wear them at the Denizens show that we were talking about.
Should.
Because people will be coming out and they'll expect to see him.
Everyone come out to the Denizens show and see him with his ear protectors on. They'll save your hearing.
Yeah.
Probably not. So what is the category for our next guest?
Is it possible that you guys would come up with like 6 questions about Care Bears?
Yeah, absolutely.
We could definitely come up with 6 questions about Care Bears.
Yeah, we could do that all day long. All right, Care Bears.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one. I'll like to see if somebody is able to pull that off. They're just gonna Care Bear stare us the entire segment. I don't know that one. All right, great. So you did it. So let's move on. We got some time left. We're going to learn a little bit about you. So this is a segment called Near and Far.
Go far again?
So we're going to get a couple stories from you, one near and one far.
Far! See, that's what it's all about.
Now, everyone keep in mind Dan Wolff and his Muddy Crows are going to be playing Saturday, July 28th at Denizens Brewing Company in Silver Spring, Maryland. So go check them out. More music and more shows obviously available up at danwolffmusic.com. That's Dan Wolff with 2 Fs. So let's learn a little bit more about Dan Wolff. Your near story, you're saying, has something to do with why bass players may not sing.
Yeah. So, DC is kind of a tricky place, I think, for practice space.
You do know Adam is a bass player, right?
Does he sing?
Do you sing, Adam?
I do have lyrics in one of our songs, yes.
But do you sing?
No, I just shout as hard as I can.
Well, it's funny you would present it as such.
Yes. All right.
Let's kick into the story. So our practice space is actually in DC, and we do most stuff through headphones.
Okay.
So like we do have like a nice electronic drum kit, like the keyboards go through stuff, the bass runs DI, and so like everybody hears everything in their headphones, which has a lot of positives. The only thing that people can probably hear is the acoustic guitar and me singing. Usually.
Yeah. Which makes you sound like a crazy person because there's just little thwats and stuff happening, and then you're just all alone.
Oh, it's real funny to take the headphones off and listen while everyone else is playing. There's just like little subtle noises that mean nothing.
It just sounds like the foundation is settling.
Especially the keys. They have a really unique...
clink, 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 clink.
Yeah. So we practice in DC. It's all quiet except for pretty much singing, and that helps like keep neighbors in apartment buildings
from complaining,
not unhappy, and it keeps them from being complaining.
So you're doing this in an apartment?
Yes.
Wow, that's brave.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's a good setup. And there's only been a couple times I think where we had any incidents, but one such incident was, I don't know what song we were playing. We were goofing around, and our bass player decided to sing.
Sure.
And he was singing pretty loud. I mean, he was being goofy about it.
Yeah.
But he will admit that he's not the best singer in the world, and he was projecting very loudly.
Very loudly.
And
that's a pretty polite way of putting it.
I don't know. I can't remember exactly who they called. If it ended up being the cops or if it was just like the local desk or
Ghostbusters.
But people came knocking, and we didn't hear them because we have headphones on. But like people came to the door knocking, trying to get a hold of us due to complaints of people like screaming, yelling, and making loud
Ma'am,
noises.
are you okay in there? Is somebody attacking you, ma'am?
And I think if someone describes your music as like, we think we heard a murder happening.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Not good.
And that's why you practice.
Yeah, that is why you practice. Oh my God, he's dying. Somebody get a battering ram.
Unless you play my genre of music, in which case, mission accomplished. You're done practicing.
That's true.
We used to have people singing in our band, and we had different levels of singing. I was the actual lead singer. And a couple of our other guys we had some mumbly singers who were like, I'm not real comfortable about this, but I can kind of carry a tune.
Yeah.
I'll get it out there. But my favorite of all was our percussionist. And I'm sure he doesn't listen to the show, so I can just make fun of him the entire time.
Oh boy.
Isn't that right, Eric? Huh? Yeah, you're not listening. So he would sing kind of like how I would imagine someone would sing if they just remembered in the last minute that they were supposed to sing. Right? Like it would come to a spot, it would come to a point where like we're all supposed to sing, and it would just be like, so
that's like Willie Nelson.
Martha!
Would you describe it as Willie Nelson?
Maybe.
Because like Willie Nelson, I think maybe because he's stoned. Yeah, he doesn't recognize when like beat 1 happens.
Yeah.
So in like a 8-beat line, he comes in on like beat 3 and crams everything in and kind of trails over the next line, which makes him late again.
Yeah, no, he wasn't late. He just realized it's almost like he knew he had to sing, but until the moment that he actually started singing, he didn't know what singing meant, and so he was surprised by it.
Oh, he was like finding singing for the first time.
Hey, did you hear that? That just happened.
Well, thanks to the bands like Lumineers for bringing gang vocals back, like just like that, ho, hey, and like you don't have to be it actually helps like if you're not a good singer and you're not all hitting the same note and you get that.
Yeah, no.
So maybe you should join a band like that.
Definitely. I think, it was like we had a lyric coming up, and just right the moment before he had to sing, he noticed that in the back of the bar someone was stealing his bike. Hey! Oh my God, we've ran out of time. All right, well, we didn't get to your far story, so we're gonna have you back.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Definitely. Did you have a good time?
I did. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us once again. Saturday, July 28th. Denizens Brewery Company in Springfield, Maryland. Go check them out, danwolffmusic.com. Also, coming up this week, don't forget, Thursday, July 19th, the Gin Rickies at Fair Hill in Olney, Maryland. Pyramid Scheme at Villain and Saint in Bethesda, Maryland. Friday, July 20th, Box Ear at Funkin' Waffles in Rochester, New York. And Wednesday, July 25th, Flo Anito at Riverside House Museum in Riverdale, Maryland. Please like our posts, follow us, retweet us, and share the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We cannot do this without you. Do not forget to review us on Facebook, iTunes, and Google Play. Thanks to everyone, Engineer Adam and everyone else who helps with us. And most of all, thanks to Dan Wolff for wasting a perfectly good hour with us. This has been another wasted hour, and if you just realized that, don't blame us. We warned you.
Leaving now, there are scars I can't talk about. Too afraid, ashamed to say them out loud to those that are near me. Life chagrined over sins, Lord, I need to confess. In my stomach they pit and they pound in my chest. I want somebody to hear me. Who's gonna save my soul now? Save my soul. Can there be forgiveness after all of this? After everything I've done. How absurd, I mouth words into smoke rings, silhouettes of my breath slowly fading away. But they carry my feelings. And just in case there's a place where my thoughts can be heard, I pray my breath ascends to safe to carry my words. Say escape towards the ceiling. Who's gonna save my soul now? Save my soul. Can there be forgiveness after all of this? Yeah, after everything I've done. Save my soul now. Who's gonna save my soul? Can there be forgiveness after all of this? Yeah.